Hey guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing a retelling themed book haul. Alright, in case you missed it, I will link my Retoldathon announcement, which is my upcoming readathon happening August 18th through the 24th, and this is all themed around retellings, fairy tales, mythology, and inspired books. I have a huge stack of books to share with you. As always, I start collecting at the end of last year's retelling themed book haul, so it has been a full year of collecting. I do a lot of book hunting, trading. I have a lot of bookish friends. Most of these books I got for under $5, if not for around $2. I have a couple new releases, but that's why I'm able to have the stack be so big, because it's a year's worth of collecting and a lot of like thrifting and hunting and all that kind of good stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to read the majority of these in time for the readathon, but I kind of read retellings all throughout the year. I like to collect them. I like to give you guys some great recommendations. A lot of these will work for all of the retelling themed prompts. We're going to dive right in. I'm not going to go too heavy into the synopsis because we've got a lot to get through, but here to give you the recommendations. There is a mix of middle grade, YA, and adult. Okay, first up is an ARC that I got. I technically have this book on order, but I got sent the special edition dust jacket for being on the street team, and I wanted to share it here with you. I have it on one of her older books, so it doesn't quite fit. Brave Flowers by Autumn Krause. This one comes out September 5th or something like that. I'll put it right here. This is like a mashup inspired by Anne Boleyn and Hamlet. So we have our main character who is really invested in like her garden and nature, and her sister is sent to marry this prince in a distant land, and she finds out that her sister has been murdered, and after this she finds out that her sister was actually meant to marry the prince and then kill him. She's been like trained to do this, and now it's her job to do it. So sounds sassy, really fun. This is a young adult standalone gothic fantasy. It's got poisonous flowers. I am so excited to get to it. Couple of mermaidy ones that I had in my mermaid marathon haul, but I wanted to put them here because they are also retellings of course, A Little Mermaid. So we have Voice of the Ocean by Kelsey and Pecci. I read this one for my mermaid themed readathon. I will link the reading vlog as well as the reading wrap up down below if you want to go hear my thoughts. I really loved it. I thought it was such a fun young adult retelling that had its own story to it. We're following a siren princess who is meant to like sink ships and protect her people, and she instead winds up saving this prince that she thinks is harmless and going on land to decide whether she wants to kill him or whether she has feelings for him. It is really good. I thought it was just such a fun book and a great new addition to any mermaid lovers collection. A Forgery of Fate by Elizabeth Lim. I did not get to this one yet, but I hope to soon. So this one has like an underwater world setting, and I believe there are mermaids in here, but it is actually a loose Beauty and the Beast retelling. Our main character agrees to have a marriage contract with a dragon lord in his underwater realm, and she is going there to help save her family. Sounds super cool. Upon a Starlit Tide by Kel Woods. This is the Owl Crate edition, so the regular cover looks different than this. This again is a young adult standalone. This is a mashup of Cinderella and The Little Mermaid. I loved it. It was a 5-star. It's probably going to be on my top 10 of the year. It has a little bit more grittiness to it. There's some more like intense scenes with some battles and a little bit of torture that I want to warn you about, because it's not just like a light fun read. It's got some really good depth to it. There is a romance in here that's really good, and I just thought it was so well done. I loved the writing. Jane Austen inspired. This is the Murder of Mr Wickham by Claudia Gray. I found this ARC in a little free library. I believe this one came out last year. I think it's adult. The happily married Mr. Knightley and Emma are throwing a house party, bringing together distant relatives and new acquaintances with characters that are beloved by Jane Austen fans. Definitely not invited is Mr. Wickham, whose latest financial scheme has netted him in an even broader array of enemies. As tempers flare and secrets are revealed, it's clear that everyone would be happier if Wickham got his comeuppance. Yet they are all shocked when Wickham turns up murdered, except of course for the killer that is hidden in their midst. So I love Claudia Gray's writing, and this just sounds like such a fun time. The Camelot Betrayal by Kirsten White. This is part of her King Arthur trilogy, the first one being the Guinevere's Deception. I have not read any of them. I think this is the sequel, but it could be the third book in the series. I really like her writing. It's just like really fun young adult adventures. All I know is that it is a King Arthur retelling. I believe we're following Guinevere, obviously, and I can't wait to start it. Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Bichardaust. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I believe this is young adult, but I'm not entirely sure. So 16-year-old Mina is motherless, her magician father is vicious, and her silent heart has never beat with love for anyone. Mina never guessed that her father had it cut out and replaced with one of glass. class. When she moves to White Spring Castle and sees its king for the first time, Mina forms a plan. Win the king's heart with her beauty, become queen, and finally know love. The only catch is that she'll have to become a stepmother. So I think this might be a mashup of more than one retelling, leaning more towards Snow White. It's a feminist fairy tale, and I've heard amazing things. Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. This is part of a huge like novella size collection of series. Not necessarily a retelling, but this one is set at a like school or reformment center for kids that have wound up in other lands and magical worlds and now have to deal with the real world again. So we're thinking like Narnia, Alice in Wonderland, anywhere where they have to like cross a realm and they're back in this like normal life and they can't really cope because they've seen all this magic and adventure. I didn't love this book when I read it the first time. It was like a 3-star, but I do love Shauna Maguire's other books and I want to give it another shot to continue on with the series. It was just a little bit darker and more depressing than I was expecting it to be, but we're gonna try it again, and it's very well beloved by the bookish community and I love the concept of it as well. A Drop of Venom by Saina Patel. This is a YA standalone. I know it's a retelling of Medusa. That's all I know. I haven't heard good or bad things about it, but I love the cover. Another King Arthur retelling. So we have Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken and The Mirror of Beasts. This is part of the duology. This one is the Fairyloot edition, so it's a little bit fancier. But this is a YA King Arthur retelling. That's all I know about it. That's all I really want to know going in. I do love Alexandra Bracken, so excited to try these. Couple old school ones. We have Scarlet. This is a Robin Hood retelling. I believe Robin Hood might be a girl in this one. I'm not sure, but I love a good Robin Hood retelling. Stolen Songbird by Danielle L. Jensen, who is an author I really love. I think this is part of a series. I'm not sure if this is the first one or not, but for 5 centuries, a witch's curse has bound the trolls to their city beneath the mountain. When Cecily is kidnapped and taken beneath the mountain, she realizes that the trolls are relying on her to break the curse. I know this is a retelling of something, but I'm not sure. I'll put it right here. And I really like her writing. That Self-Same Metal by Brittany N. Williams. So this one is inspired by Shakespeare's tale. 16-year-old Joan creates and maintains the stage blades for William Shakespeare's acting company, the King's Men, using her magical ability to control metal, a power gifted to her by Orisha Ugon. Joan and her family have always been aware of the Fae's presence within London society, subtle and peaceful and marked by the faint glow that only those blessed by the Orisha can see. So we have elemental magic and Shakespeare adventures, and it sounds very cool. The Sisters Grimm by Mena Van Prague. This is an adult standalone. Once upon a time, a demon who desired earthly domination fathered an army of dark daughters to help him correct humanity. As children, Goldie, Lyanna, Scarlet, and Bay dreamed of strange other worlds, a nightscape of peculiar mists, mysterious falling leaves, and hungry ivy. In the shadowland of Everywhere, the 4 half-sisters, connected by blood and magic, begin to nurture their elemental powers, learning to control earth, water, air, and fire, but at 13 they are ripped from Everywhere and separated. 5 years later, the sisters still feel the loss of one another and their supernatural strengths, though they have no memory of either. I've never read that synopsis. It sounds so freaking cool. 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, edited by Ellen O and Elsie Chapman. This is an anthology for your list. This is the one I plan on reading for my Retoldathon TBR. It is a mix of Asian myths and legends in contemporary fantasy and sci-fi stories. So 15 different stories, 15 different authors, and it sounds very cool. Darling Girl by Liz Mikulski. This is an adult retelling of Peter Pan and Wendy. I can't remember if there was one that had a similar name that was like very dark and kind of heavy. It might be this one, so I just want to warn you, I'm not sure, but I found this one for like $1, so we picked it up. So we're following Holly Darling. She's the granddaughter of Wendy, and she's running a successful skincare company, and her son Jack happy and healthy, but the tragedy of her past is well behind her until she gets a call that her daughter Eden, who has gone into a coma for a decade, has gone missing from the state where she's been long tucked away. And worst of all, Holly knows who must be responsible. Peter Pan, who is not only very real, but very dangerous. Gingerbread by Heli Oyemi. I will probably read this one around Christmas time because I think this is a Hansel and Gretel retelling told in like a contemporary way. I could be very wrong on that, but that is what I know. I don't want to read the synopsis because I want to go in blind. I found a copy of Poor Unfortunate Souls. I have read this one. I'm reading this Giant Villains series, getting slowly caught up. You do need to read them in order. This is book 3. They tie all together, but they all follow different Disney villains. There is a heavy like tie-in with the overall arching story. So this of course is Ursula's story, and it's book number 3. They're very short, very fun, perfect for the readathon. An old school one, this is Catherine by April Lindner. This is a Wuthering Heights retelling. I believe, and it's like contemporary with a forbidden romance. So I haven't heard anything. It's a much older one, but we're gonna check it out. Girl, Serpent, and Thorn by Melissa Bashordos, the same as the Girls Made of Glass. I've heard amazing things about this one as well. I want to say this is like a Sleeping Beauty retelling. There was and there was not, as all stories begin, a princess cursed to be poisonous to the touch. Sounds super cool. Wolves and Daggers by Melanie Karsak. This is an indie author that I really love. I read this one last year for, I think, Not So Scary-a-thon. This is a Red Riding Hood retelling series with werewolves. It's very, very fun. I've read the first one. I super enjoyed it and it was very unique. There's like this Red Cape Society. They like hunt werewolves. It's very cool. Spellbook of Katrina von Tassel. I plan on reading this one for fall for sure because this is a Sleepy Hollow retelling. It's adult. It's a standalone. I love Sleepy Hollow. I love like spooky retellings. So very excited to check it out. The Hidden by Jessica Verde. This again, I think, is a Sleepy Hollow retelling, with the first one being The Hollow and then the second being The Haunted. So I'm slowly collecting them. I found this one for $1. Again, I don't know anything but that it's a Sleepy Hollow retelling. I think it's going to be like a paranormal, contemporary, old school YA, and I'm here for it. Into the Bright Open, a Secret Garden remix by Sherry DeMilani. I actually got this one to read for next year's flower themed readathon because we love a Secret Garden retelling. Again, I don't know anything about it except for that, and then I love like the poppies and things on the cover. There's a bunch of these like remix books that look super cool. All the Ever Afters by Danielle Teller. The Untold Story of Cinderella's Stepmother. How magical does this one look? The Queen Will Betray You. This is the sequel to The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning, who I really love her Sea Witch book, which is a retelling of The Little Mermaid. This book is inspired heavily by The Princess Bride, the first one and this one. So they do go in order, but I already have the first one. Really need to check them out because it sounds so good. Speaking of Princess Bride, we have This Will Be Fun by E.B. Asher. So this one I think is a very loosely inspired by Princess Bride and just like that time period in general, and it sounds so fun. So this is about a group of 4 friends, their former flames, a mayhem-spiked quest, what could go wrong. So they are like supposed to meet up together to like save their magical land. It is supposed to be like kind of silly fun and kind of pokes fun at the fairy tales, but it's just supposed to be like a great time. We have Unravel the Dusk, which is the sequel to Spin the Dawn, which I already own, and this is a loose Mulan retelling duology involving like magical tapestries and sewing, and it just sounds so cool. It's young adult and it looks amazing. Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Colhurst. This one is not a retelling, but it is kind of written like a fairy tale, inspired loosely by like Cinderella, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty. I believe it is a female-female romance. There's elemental magic, and I've heard really great things about it. We have A Tyranny of Petticoats, edited by Jessica Spotswood. So this is all about like badass females from history. So not a retelling, but you're going to see a lot of characters from history and mythology and lore. This is told by a bunch of different authors. There's monsters and bank robbers and barkeeps, and so this is another good anthology for your list. Then we have The Floating World by Axie O. This one is inspired by Korean legend of the Celestial Maidens, which I don't know about, but sounds amazing. I had this one on my most anticipated list. Then it showed up in my fairy loot for one of the months, and I was so excited for it. There is an underworld with a land of perpetual darkness. An ex-soldier son Hope comes across the score of a lifetime, a chest of coins for hunting down the girl who wields silver light. Lastly, 2 I'm very excited about. I actually had the opportunity to go to Comic-Con recently. A friend invited me last minute and I went and I got thrust into the madness of Comic-Con, but I kind of found my way and I found the book people, and I got 2 books. One I purchased and one I got for free because it was an art. So I purchased Holy Terrors by Margaret Owen. This is the 3rd in her Little Thieves series, which is a Red Riding Hood inspired series, I think. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I'll put the proper retelling here. I've heard it's amazing, and plus the covers are incredible. So I got this 3rd one because it was like half off at the tour booth, so I need to get the others. And then because I bought that, they gave me an arc of Hemlock and Silver, and this is a Snow White inspired retelling from T. Kingfisher. Comes out August 25th. I just can't believe I got this. I'm so excited. I'm reading this one for my Retoldathon TBR, and we are hopefully going to fall in love with it. Sounds great. Okay, you guys, I managed to get through all of these. Let me know if any of them are going to go on your Retoldathon TBR. And next time I have a retelling themed book haul, it's going to be absolutely massive because we're not doing the retelling themed readathon next year. Hopefully this gave you some great ideas for the readathon or just the year in general. Let me know if you're participating down below in the comments. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.